the things come, you just say, okay, I give it back to the Lord. It is a difficult thing to do. But somebody that did it, you begin to look at the person that, okay, this is a good one. This is a good thing to do. This is what I really need. This is the really Christianity. But it is not that. I want you to know something. There are many things that is beyond that sacrifice. This is the same David that slaughtered Uriah's son, that took Uriah's wife and slaughtered Uriah in a battle. And he said he cannot feed from the warlord. Praise the living Jesus. You will look at that thing in the world we are today, in ministry, in churches. There are rough edges of life. There are rough edge of life. That the rough edges is when a man of God preach the sermon, when a man of God is praying, when a man of God is telling you what the discernment, what will be for you, what is ahead, this is what we need to do. Sometimes we will be in the church. We begin to text, we begin to phone, we begin to talk, But I want to take us to something. There is a reason why this sermon is before us this morning. Because I want us to know one thing. I want to rest the sermon when he got there is about the rough edges of life. That in a rough edges will not leave you with peace. When you sat down for so long in a rough edge of life, it's always with bitterness, it's always with pain, it's always with discomfort. And rough edges could come in the ministry, rough edges could come at your place of work, rough edges could come in a business. Sometimes you begin to work at a place, you begin to do morning, afternoon, 12-hour shift, you begin to work, and nobody will come and pat your back and say, good job. Sometimes you begin to be the breadwinner, you are the breadwinner of the family, you provide everything that is necessary, you give all the best, and they need you, but they act as if they don't want you. You are in a rough edge. You sit down on the rough edge. You have put in everything humanly possible that is necessary. But you are not accepted. What will you do if you find yourself in a rough edge of life? Because rough edge, if I come here today and say, come and sit down, that's a good seat. I say, no, I'm not going to sit down. This is the best place. I begin to sit down here for about an hour. By the time I go home, I will know that I will feel discomfort by sitting down here. But when I sit down here, I know it's comfortable with me. Praise the living Jesus. Rough edge of life. Let's turn our Bible to the book of 2 Samuel, chapter 11. I want you to see something with me. Can somebody start from verse 1 and stop at 6? 2 Samuel 11.
A woman washing her face, and the with her, for she was purified from her uncleanness, and she returned unto her house. David and said, I am with child. And David sent to Joab, saying, send me Uriah the Hittite. And Joab sent Uriah to David. And when he was home, how the war was fight. And David said to Uriah, go down to thy house and wash thy feet. And Uriah departed out of the king's house, and there followed him a mess of meat from went not down to his house.
Thank you, sir. You see verse 3, when The Bible says when David inquired of Bathsheba, and they said, no, this is Bathsheba, the wife of Uriah, the Hittite. I'm trying to link, if a man can return water that the warlord, the trained men, he returned it, he said he poured it back to God. He didn't want to drink so that it will not act as if he's drinking blood. Now he's going after someone else's wife. And the funny thing, the comparison thing that I want to bring out here is that verse 3, the Hittites. Hittites is an Egyptian. He's not a Jew. Hittite is an Egyptian originally, but fighting alongside with the Israelites. David did not consider the part of Uriah when it came to this sin. David did not notice that, David did not put to account that this man is an Hittite, is an Egyptian captive, is the first, is among the 12 tribes of the Canaanite that God Almighty told them that when you get to Canaan, do not touch them. David took the wife of Uriah. This is instruction. We were trying to do the Bible study this morning, and we're talking about the Canaanite and the Balaam and Balak experience. But in this case, there is an instruction. The Bible says, even in the days of old, we will live and put an account in the book of, the Bible says, is it not written in the book of Chronicle? Is it not written, this one died, is written in Chronicle. So every family will write an account of their lives and we transfer it to the next generation. Every family will transfer. So David is aware the origins of the Hittites. If you go to the Bible, the book of Numbers, chapter 13, verse 29, it mentioned the Hittites, and it mentioned the Jebusite, it mentioned the Amorite. He knew that these are families that are in the land of Canaan. These are the original inhabitants of Canaan. Though there is a promise of God concerning them that you will take the land, but don't do anything with the Canaanites. And out of the Canaanite come the Hittites. Out of there came the Amorite. Out of there came the Jebusite. Jerusalem belonged to the enemy of Israel. That is why it was called Jerusalem. It was originally Jebusite. So it belonged to the enemy. But David did not take in consideration. Imagine your enemy is helping you. I remember the last time the Prime Minister of Israel, Netanyahu, he said the enemy of your enemy is your enemy. He linked the word. And when they were asking, sir, why are you fighting with the Palestinians? He said, that land belonged to us. He said the land was given to us from our father, the days of Abraham. So he linked everything to the biblical aspect. He remembered the story. He remembered the ancestor. But in the case of David and Uriah, David did not put Uriah into account that this is the generation of the Egyptians that live in Canaan, the first inhabitant of Canaan, those that own Canaan. But he took Uriah's wife. But let's go further. There is a place I want you to know so that you know in life, there are rough edges of life. It does not matter how the road goes smooth. You might be working, being the breadwinner of the family. You might be providing everything. But they don't want you. The place is rough for you. The place is rough. You might be picking up a career that you do everything. You do 12-hour shift, stay off, sacrifice, voluntary. You are there. But you are not patted at the back. Good job, sir. Good job, ma. It's a rough edge. You are in a rough edge. Let us see what happened to Uriah. Verse 6. You see, Uriah did not went home. But somebody gave an account of Uriah to David that the man you asked to go home refused at this time to go home. If I want you to know from this perspective, the people that are reporting Uriah to David, what is their mission? So when a case happens, when a situation happens, the people that give the account of the situation, do you know their take home? Do you know the role they are playing? Even why they are not a part of it. Praise the living Jesus. Let's go further, sir. Can you take us to verse 9 and 10?
and went not down to his house. And when they had told David, saying, Uriah went not down unto his house, David said unto Uriah, Camest thou not from thy journey? Why then didst thou not go down unto thine house? And Uriah said unto David, The ark and Israel and Judah abide in tents, and my lord Joab and the servants of my lord are encamped in the open field. Shall I then go into my house to eat and drink and to drink, and lie with my wife, as thou livest, and as thy soul liveth? I will not do these things.
Thank you, sir. You can see this place. What I want you to derive from here is, as a believer, let us have it in mind that it is with a determination. I will not do anything without prayer. I will not do anything without consulting God. I will not do anything without speaking to God. Because this place, Uriah acknowledged something here. He said the ark shows the representations of God. Is the part of contain the 10 commandments, contain the bid of Israel, contain the covenant of God with Israel, contain the presence of God in the camp of the Israelites. Uriah acknowledges that very ark, but David did not acknowledge the origin of Uriah. So if you are a believer, you don't acknowledge God anywhere you are, you will allow the unbeliever to put their hands on you, and the next day they will born again, and they will make heaven, and one will just die like that. There is something very significant here that I want you to know. Sir, can you take us to the verse 20? This verse 20, yes. No, verse 20. Verse 20. He said, and it's so.
When you do fight, knew ye not that they would shoot from the wall, who slew of Jerubbaal? Did not a woman cast a piece of a milestone upon him from the wall, that he died in Thebez? Why went ye near the wall then? Say down.
Thank you, sir. You can see the rough edge. He said, when the messenger go back to Jerusalem and convey the message to the king, let him know that where Uriah was killed, it was a rough place. It was a place that cannot lead to escape. It was by the wall. If you look at that verse 20 and 21, 19, 20, 21, he said it was by the wall. Make a vivid account of this, that this is the place that Uriah was killed. So that if the king is about to get mad, if the king is about to rage, that will make him to be subsided in anger. But this is the rough edge. The place, rough edge is a place of which discomfort. It's a place of which there is no peace. It's a place of which there is no happiness, there is no joy, there is no exit. Uriah fought for the Israelites. Uriah fought alongside with the Israelites. Uriah could not fight for his life. Uriah could not fight to save his home, because there is a rough edge. It is easy for you to take something, to take a career, if it is easy to take a marriage, but at the rough edge, you know that. That's why I started that. If life is like a game, if life is a chess game, you know what the next opposition will pick. If it is a draft game, you know what the next person. If it is a soccer, you know what the coach would have read the match that, okay, at the touchline, this is what will happen. At this place, this is what will happen. But life is not a game. So if you enter into a life, if you enter into a marriage with game, that's where you will end. I know of a sister. This is a very life story. And I also mentioned it.